What if the first thing someone did to win your trust wasn't to open up or share their heart, but to bypass your brain entirely? What if, before you even had a chance to get to know them, they had already designed an experience to make you feel something profound, not by accident, but by design? Not with words, not with charm, but with something far more primal: scent. There's a claim that Meghan Markle deliberately wore Princess Diana's signature perfume on her very first date with Harry. And if that's true, it's not eerie, it's strategic. It's like saying, "You don't have to miss her anymore. I'm already familiar." All of this may explain why Harry was overwhelmed by his own words from Spare from the moment they met. Let's talk about it, but before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this video. I'm going to be talking science. I'm going to show you structures of the brain. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. But okay, let's get into it. So I want to start off with this article because I want to lay the groundwork for what the claim is, who has said it, and this article also directly has quotations from Harry's autobiography, Spare. So the title of this article is Prince Harry was overwhelmed by Meghan Markle on first date as she had Princess Diana's perfume on. This was published on July 19, 2023. The article begins, royal expert Angela Levin claimed Meghan researched the late Princess of Wales before their courtship. The first time they met, she had Diana's perfume on. Of course, Harry was just overwhelmed by that because he was a boy that loved cuddling up to his mother, Levin told an outlet. Essentially, before the first date even happened, if this is true, there's calculated intention. The message this sends is chilling. She didn't just want to know Harry's story, she wanted to weaponize it. This isn't a woman preparing for a date. It's someone planning an emotional ambush. The fact that she chose Diana's exact scent on the very first meeting, it suggests she knew how deeply it could affect Harry, and she used it to her advantage. Scent is one of the most primal memory triggers, and by using it, Meghan is bypassing logic and appealing directly to Harry's unresolved grief. And I'm going to show you exactly how this works and how we're able to smell things and where that information goes in our brain. The article continues, but speaking of time, ours was up. Poof, she was gone. Compared to her, Cinderella was the queen of long goodbyes, Harry shared. She was wearing a black sweater, jeans, and heels. I knew nothing about clothes, but I knew she was chic. Then again, she could make anything look chic. This abrupt exit, in my opinion, created tension and urgency. It sets the stage for Harry to chase the feeling, not the person. It wasn't about connection, in my opinion, it was about hooking him. I do want to mention here that the article states, although Levin's accusation was never proven, Harry did admit to taking an interest in the actress's Hollywood lifestyle. So it's important for us to keep that in mind. This was never proven. The article then continues quoting from Harry's autobiography, and it says, Harry recalled, heart attack, beautiful. I was trying to process this, struggling to understand what was happening to my circulatory and nervous systems. And as a result, my brain couldn't handle any more data. Conversation, pleasantries, the Queen's English all became a challenge. And you guys, we're going to talk about what this is. This is actually something called emotional overload, and we're going to get to that in a minute. So let's talk about the sense of smell. Smell is primal. It's not just fragrance, it's emotion, it's memory, it's attachment. The olfactory nerve is the only sensory pathway that bypasses logic and goes directly to the brain's limbic system, the emotional control center. And you can see that from this diagram that those nerves directly connect to the brain. And I'll show you a diagram of the limbic system, and I'll describe the limbic system in a second. What this means is that scent has the power to bypass reason and spark raw, unfiltered emotion instantly. It's why people can grieve through the smell of a loved one's sweater or feel a pang of nostalgia from the faintest trace of an old perfume. When you smell something, odor molecules enter your nose and bind to receptors in the olfactory epithelium, which is at the top of your nasal cavity. These receptors then send signals to a structure called the olfactory bulb. And from there, it's those signals that travel along the olfactory nerve seen in yellow here directly into the brain. This is the only sensory nerve that bypasses logic and goes straight into the brain's limbic system. So, what is the limbic system and why is this so important? The limbic system is a group of structures deep in the brain, and they're involved in a lot of things, including emotion, motivation, behavior, long term memory, and survival instincts: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of the fawn response. I say that because I usually go straight into the fawn response in times of conflict. I did a video several months ago about an experience I had where I went into the fawn response and I talked about it, and a lot of people hadn't heard of this before. So let me know if you've heard of it. Going back to the limbic system, the key structures include the amygdala, which processes fear, threats, and emotional memories, the hippocampus, which is involved in memory formation, the hypothalamus, which regulates hormones and emotional responses, and the cingulate gyrus, which handles emotional regulation and attention. What all of this means is that a scent can instantly trigger a memory or emotional reaction like nostalgia, comfort, or anxiety. People can emotionally bond over shared scents or become emotionally manipulated by scent based triggers. When Meghan allegedly wore Princess Diana's perfume on her first date with Harry, it may have activated emotional memory associations in Harry's brain, linking Meghan to feelings of comfort, loss, and maternal love. The olfactory cue bypassed logic and went straight to Harry's emotional brain, potentially deepening attachment early on. Now, layer that with what Prince Harry himself describes in Spare. He was overwhelmed the moment he met Meghan, not just charmed, he was overwhelmed. We see here, he says, I was trying to process this, struggling to understand what was happening to my circulatory and nervous systems. And as a result, my brain couldn't handle any more data. This isn't just a case of first date nerves. This is sensory and emotional overload. Sensory and emotional overload happens when the brain is hit with too much input too fast and too intensely, and it doesn't allow the brain to process it in time. In Harry's case, it wasn't just that he found Meghan attractive, it was that every signal, visual, verbal, emotional, and even olfactory, hit all at once. She was stunning. That's visual impact. She was confident and articulate. That's intellectual stimulation. She wore his mother's perfume. That's a deeply emotional and primal trigger, bypassing logic and activating the limbic system directly. She embodied charisma and perhaps, unknowingly or not, echoed the presence of someone Harry had lost. While Harry believed he was having a soul level connection, his nervous system may have been responding to something far deeper: the scent of grief repackaged as intimacy. He wasn't just meeting a woman, he was being triggered psychologically by the sensory echo of his mother. And if Megan knew that and deliberately used it, this wasn't flirtation, this was emotional infiltration, a strategic use of scent to collapse his boundaries, collapse his judgment, and plant herself inside the part of him that would always long for the one woman he could never have back. That's not coincidence. That's not chemistry. That's manipulation in a bottle. I've said before that I believe Megan is a malignant narcissist based on her behavior and its similarity to the behavior of my stepmom, who is a malignant narcissist. And I wanted to look into, is this something that malignant narcissists do? This emotional infiltration. And actually, This is a hallmark tactic of malignant narcissists, and as you can see, it's deeply manipulative. Emotional infiltration means getting under your skin fast, not through shared history or genuine connection, but through manufactured intensity. A malignant narcissist doesn't just want your attention, they want access to your emotional core. They often use tools like mirroring your values, dreams, or traumas so you think we're the same. They may accelerate intimacy with love bombing, intense eye contact, and confessions. And they could use sensory triggers like scent, touch, or music to create emotional imprinting. Over time, you might feel deeply bonded to them without even knowing why, because the connection wasn't built logically, it was implanted emotionally. And that led me to another topic. Is this considered love bombing? And actually, love bombing is the vehicle, and emotional infiltration is basically the destination. In love bombing, there's over the top affection, gifts, praise, intense texting, things like, I've never felt this way before, all delivered quickly to hook your nervous system and bypass your critical thinking. While love bombing is the method, emotional infiltration is the goal to get inside your emotional world, build fast dependence, and position themselves as essential to your identity, safety, or even healing. So when someone wears a symbolic scent like Diana's perfume, mirrors your values, or makes you feel seen in a way no one else has, and they do it quickly, that's emotional infiltration wrapped in the package of love bombing. Some people chase connection, other people manufacture it, and the ones who do it best, you don't even realize it's happening until you're already in too deep. So I'm curious to know, what do you all think about this? This has been a video I've wanted to make a long time because I've wanted to look into the science behind this connection, this artificial manufactured way of using perfume or using scent in general to speed up relationships. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. I'd be very interested to know what your thoughts are. Was the biology part boring? To me, it was so interesting. I love talking science. If this video was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.